What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Faith and Film. Today we're going to be looking at the 2012 film Here Comes the Boom for Classic Movie Monday. So, let's get into it. Kevin James plays a failed biology teacher named Scott Voss, and Henry Winkler plays the music director at the same high school by the name of Marty Strib. So, we get the plot kicked off and we realize that Scott Voss just doesn't care about teaching anymore. He just goes to work simply to get paid. He doesn't care about inspiring the kids. He doesn't care about teaching his students. Nope, he's just there to check it off his list for the day. And then we see that Henry Winkler's character, Marty, is still passionate about his teaching role. He loves music. He loves helping the kids, even when they have super old equipment and their music room is super dark and dingy. Right? We find out that the high school that they're teaching at is going through a major budget cut, and the music program is getting completely cut. So Marty's going to lose his job. So Scott, in retaliation to that and to kind of rub it into the principal's face, because he and the principal have a very strained relationship, he says, no, you know what? We're going to raise this money. We're going to get everything back for Marty. You're not going to be able to fire him. You're not going to be able to not let this man get his tenure. We're going to save the music program. And it's a noble effort, or it seems noble. He's kind of just doing it to get back at the principal and to show how good he is to the nurse at the school, because he kind of really has a crush on this girl and keeps asking her out, and she never says yes. So he's doing it. It's like, oh, look at me. But doesn't really care about it. He's just kind of doing it for himself. And then he slowly and surely starts to realize, hey, wait, maybe this is something that I really can do. If I really put my mind to it and really think about this and want to help out this guy that I work with, I think we can actually do this. So he goes and he starts working at the night school he used to teach at to help with citizenship classes for a little bit of extra cash. And while he's there, he meets this guy, and he used to be a former UFC MMA fighter. So this former fighter one night asks him, hey, can you help me study a little bit? And Scott Voss goes, well, I don't know. But then out of the goodness of his heart decides, what the heck, I might as well help this guy. I've got nothing else better to do. And while he's at the dude's apartment, he watches this UFC fight and realizes that the guy that lost is getting paid $10,000, which would significantly help toward the goal of $48,000 that needs to be raised to save the music program. So he thinks to himself, wait, if all I need to do is lose to get paid, I can do this MMA thing. Heck, I was a D1 college wrestler, and I won state in high school. I might as well give this thing a shot and just lose everything and make money that way. And the guy goes, what are you thinking? You're old and you haven't wrestled in 20 years. This is a horrible idea. But if you really want to do it, I'll get you into this match this weekend. And so he's like, okay, I'll get into this match. And Scott and Marty go to the match, and they devise this plan that Scott has no idea how to fight, but intimidation will always strike fear into the heart of his opponent. So they use music as their intimidating factor. And it just goes absolutely horrible for him. Nico is so embarrassed to be seen with these two hooligans running around. And then Scott goes into the ring and gets completely knocked out in his first fight. And then the story progresses, and we see more and more potential in Scott's fighting ability. Nico trains him more and more. And we see hope start building in Marty that the music program and his job are going to be saved. And eventually Scott gets pretty good at fighting, but is stuck with defense, and lands a surprising blow onto one of his opponents. And it all goes down, or should I say, comes up from there. If you guys have seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because who among us, who is an Amish, makes their own applesauce and leaves it on the back window of their car? I mean, it's an age-old question, but as we know, mistakes were made. Anyway, we see Scott's improving, and it gets the attention of Joe Rogan. And so Joe Rogan invites him to come along and fight in the UFC, and we see all of the things that happen for Scott start to fall into place. He's slowly and surely starts to regain his love of teaching, of helping the kids, of saying, no, that your education is important, and I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to help inspire you. No matter what it takes, I'm going to lead you to something better. And this budding romance between him and the nurse finally takes off, because he starts putting himself back together. He starts getting in shape, obviously, because he needs that for the MMA. He starts acting like a man, actually helping his friend now, not just doing it for selfish reasons. And we see that they start getting along pretty great. So everything's falling in line for Scott. And then his trainer that Nico introduces him to at the gym to help him get better at offense says that he was called by Joe Rogan and was told that Nico pulled out of the MMA offer. And so Scott confronts Nico about this, and Nico says, look, man, I'm the same age as you, and I haven't fought in years, and I can still kick your butt. And I don't think you're ready yet. And Scott goes, what do you mean I'm not ready? Joe Rogan thinks I'm ready. I think I can do it. And Nico goes, you know what? Guess I was being selfish and jealous of your success. Let's go give it a try. So they go and they fly out to Las Vegas, and Scott has this amazing fight against what would have been one of the championship contenders in his weight class. And he fights this guy, loses the first 2 rounds handily. He does not know where he is at all, but he makes it to the 3rd round. And eventually he looks out into the crowd and sees the band who were flown out by Joe Rogan, and the music swells and it's so inspiring. And every time my family watches it, my mom cries at this moment. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to do it for them. Marty looks at him and says, Scott, it doesn't matter if you win or lose here. It doesn't matter about the money anymore. What matters is what you're doing to the kids right now, what they're seeing, the inspiration that you're providing. If you lost this thing, our mission would still have been accomplished. If we didn't get the money, my job goes away. If the music program goes away, what we've done accomplishes everything. And so with those words, Scott goes out and he digs deep and he secures the victory to save Marty's music program and his job. Now, this movie is extremely entertaining. It's such a funny comedy movie. There are so many good moments and lines to this film that every time I watch it, I always start laughing before the joke happens because I know that it's about to happen. And when it does happen, it still pays off every single time, even though I already know what's going to happen. And additionally, Kevin James puts in another great performance, and so does Henry Winkler. I mean, this man could just phone it in for this comedy movie, but no, he really goes out and he puts his comedy boots on and he does the work, and he's just absolutely hilarious in this movie. Salma Hayek's great in it as well, and they really do put in a good job in a movie that they could have phoned in, and it would not have turned out as good as it did. Again, the super funny comedy parts, the plot's great. There are a lot of little subplots in it as well that all flow together and all connect super well, and it's just a really enjoyable time that if you haven't seen this movie, you absolutely definitely should see this movie. It's just a really enjoyable time and a good sports and comedy movie. Now let's get to where I see Jesus in this movie. But wait, before we get into that, click that subscribe button. Go ahead, like this video, click the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video, and so you can help grow this channel to get the gospel of Jesus Christ out into the world, into people that might not have heard it before, through the facility of these movie reviews, because I know you guys are really enjoying them. I want this channel to reach other people so that they might enjoy them as well and to hear about the gospel of Jesus Christ, because that's the most important thing in this life, is telling others about Jesus and loving them well. And by subscribing, you're able to help me do that. And I would really, really appreciate that you guys like the video and subscribe. Back to where I see Jesus in this movie. How many of us struggle and wrestle with God every single day? I know I'm one of them. I know my flesh always wants to take control of my life and to do the things that I want to do and to control my life in the way that I think it should go. And I don't see the whole picture. So I'm struggling with God. I'm wrestling with him, wrestling over the control of my life. But what I need to do is I need to surrender it to him. And this movie, it's all about fighting. Scott's coach specifically mentions Genesis chapter 2, where Jacob wrestles with the Lord. He physically has an altercation with the angel of God. And now our altercations in wrestling with the Lord aren't going to be physical in our lives, but they are a constant battle that we face all of the time. And only in surrender are we able to actually live the life that God has designed for us to live. It might not seem like we're living in the best way when we do surrender to God, because things can often be confusing and hurtful and cloudy. But when we do surrender to him and we don't try to do our own thing, it all works out for the good who love the Lord, who have been called according to his purpose, as we know in Romans 8:28. So that surrender, that fighting with God, is all prevalent throughout this movie, because in the beginning, it doesn't seem like Scott has anything going for him. And through a series of struggles and altercations and challenges and difficulties and injuries and confusion, he comes out victorious and saving one of his best friend's jobs. And he doesn't do this for himself. After he realizes, wait, I have a bigger part to play in this man's life. Eventually, he realizes the selfish desire that he had to get this money at first goes away. And he says, no, I'm going to do this for you because I love you and you're my brother, right? And that's what Jesus does for us. He sacrificed himself for us because he loves us. And that's a very similar sacrifice that Scott has here. He puts aside his passions, his laziness, quite frankly, and goes out and does the hard work because he loves his friend, because he loves his brother. And this shows a redeeming aspect in Scott's story, just like the redemption of Christ to forgive our sins is offered to us every single day. Further, when we're in the hardest battles of our lives, like Scott was when he was in Vegas fighting his UFC fight, and the punches are coming from all directions and kicks hit our face out of completely nowhere, all we need is one opportunity to cry out to God, one opportunity to surrender ourselves and humble ourselves and bend to his will and stop trying to do things. And when things seem lowest, just like when Scott thought he was going to lose his fight in this lowest moment, he looked up to the crowds, drew on what was inspiring him, and he went and he executed. And that's what we need to do. We need to, in our lowest moments, look to what will provide for us, and in our case, that's Jesus Christ, and trust in him and know that he's going to pull through and he will help us win our battles no matter what because he loves us. All that being said, I definitely recommend Here Comes the Boom. And if you guys watch this movie and see things a little bit differently, that's super cool. But I can guarantee you that you'll have a fantastic time watching this movie and laughing super hard and getting choked up at the good, heartfelt moments in it. But that's all I got for you today on this new episode of Classic Movie Mondays. Go ahead and drop in the comments your favorite celebrity movie cameo because Joe Rogan's in this movie, and I think that that's pretty cool. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. If you want to watch another Kevin James movie that I thought was really good as well, go ahead and click on the video on the screen right now. That's all I've got for you. Have a blessed day. See you guys.